We want to interrupt your thinking.
We want you to take notice.
Notice the issues.
Sexism.
Inequality.
I've always had an interest in debating equality, and in particular, women's issues. Throughout my life, I have faced a number of obstacles that exist simply because I am a woman, and that is wrong. After attending an event for young women at the Scottish Parliament, I began to ask myself, do I fully understand gender equality? And what am I doing to challenge these harmful stereotypes? And finally, what can I do personally to make a change? But more importantly, I realised that I am not alone in my experience.
I thought that surely feminism and inequality were things of the past. But I learned that sadly, these issues are still prevalent within our society. Consider the pay gap, the disproportion of females in leadership roles, and using sex to sell. There's a lot we can do to challenge these currently accepted attitudes within society.
When I went to buy my car, I had actually done a bit of research beforehand and knew what make and model I wanted, so I went off to the garage and spoke to a very nice gentleman, and yes, they had a particular model in stock, and yes, we could go out for a test drive, so we did that. Came back to the garage and sat down, and he said it would cost X amount of pounds, and I said, well, if you give me it for Y, I'll take it. To which he replied, do you not want to go home and ask your husband about that? So I just sort of made a face and said no, quite firmly, and we moved on from there.
When I got my first teaching post many years ago, I was in the music department in the school that I was working, and the head teacher came down to congratulate me and to officially offer me the job. He shook my hand and said, welcome aboard, and then he said, now don't you go getting pregnant now. And I was really shocked. I was shocked that a person in authority thought it was okay to make a comment like that.
The fact that I was not alone in experiencing this sexism was reassuring.
While working at a sporting event, I was subjected to sexual chants repeatedly.
I felt embarrassed, I felt degraded, and I felt used. And no one should ever have to feel like that.
I'm struck by the bombardment of conflicting messages that we as women receive every day. Sometimes we are told that our sexuality is empowering. Other times we are told that our sexuality objectifies us. Just look at how the media portrays professional women in our society. The focus is on how they look, rather than what they say. If this was about men, would the same conversations take place?
Many years ago, but maybe not as many should think, when I started a new teaching post, I was told or reminded that ladies shouldn't wear trousers. This irritated me on two counts. One, being referred to as a lady, so it was unladylike in order to dress how I wanted to. And two, there seemed to be a dress code for women, but not one for men. Me being me, I did what I liked anyway. I wore trousers, I challenged them. They didn't say anything. Many more women started wearing trousers after that.
Leadership is an important part of the skills that are taught in schools, but are girls encouraged to be leaders as much as boys are?
I can't count the amount of times that I've been called bossy by a teacher. They're always like, stop being bossy, but I never mean to, it's just me trying to help other people. Whereas some teachers say that it's a natural leadership skill, so I don't really understand what the right thing is to do. It's like a double standard.
I remember being asked, am I a feminist? I hesitated, but I was wrong to do so. There seems to be this idea that feminism is all about man-hating, but this couldn't be more wrong. Feminism is about equality, politically, socially and economically. And if you believe in equality for men and women, then you believe in feminism. We've come a long way since women first gained the right to vote in the early 20th century, when now, in the 21st century, almost all of the major political parties in Scotland are led by women. But we've still got a lot to do. One of the modern ideals of feminism is making sure everyone is involved in the conversation, and that means men too.
Gender equality is your issue too. Because to date, I've seen my father's role as a parent being valued less by society. I've seen young men suffering from mental illness, unable to ask for help, for fear it would make them less of a man. We don't often talk about men being imprisoned by gender stereotypes, but I can see that they are, and that when they are free, things will change for women as a natural consequence. Both men and women should feel free to be sensitive. Both men and women should feel free to be strong.
I'm a feminist.
When I was little, my dad always told me I couldn't cry because crying was for girls.
I am a feminist.
I don't particularly like football. I like lots of other sports like hockey and tennis, but sometimes I get a bit teased and stuff like that because I play them and because I'm a boy and I don't like football. And that annoys me because a sport is a sport and it can be enjoyed by anyone, boy or girl. So basically what I'm trying to say is that no one can tell you what you can or can't do, or what you can like or what you don't like, even if you're a boy or a girl.
We can't discuss equality without both sides taking part. Our movement is a challenge to make that change.
We want you to take notice where you live.
To take notice in your own school.
Take notice in your own life.
You can't make a change without first noticing what's wrong.
We want to challenge you to make a change.